Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
The clock is winding down on 2014, and the Atlanta Braves find themselves in a wild card spot. Miami, 5 back. Tonight, though, we salute Tommy Hutton, one of our own. 50 years in baseball. It's your night, Hut. Tonight, as Miami takes on Atlanta. Tonight we salute 50 years in baseball. Tommy Hutton night tonight here at the ballpark. The Braves and the Marlins open up a 3-game series. The Braves occupy the second wild card spot. Miami is 5 back. It's a 3-game set. Jared Cozart ready to go, and Justin Bour finds himself in the starting lineup. Everybody honoring Tommy Hutton. And you know what? He can still bring it. A perfect strike, the lefty, right on the mark. Had a nice cut to it. He brought it right across the outside part of the plate. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz. 50 years in baseball for Tommy Hutton. I've been privileged to call him my partner for 10 of those seasons. They've been 10 terrific years. And so tonight we celebrate that as we watch the Marlins and the Braves play. An important ball game for sure, especially for the Braves and the Marlins, who have postseason hopes. Braves have that wild card spot. Marlins are 5 back. It's a rematch of these two teams that just met in Atlanta when the Braves took 2 of 3, and a rematch on the mound in the exact same pitching matchup. We start with Jared Cozart. Since the Marlins acquired him from the Houston Astros, he may be the best trading deadline pitcher acquired in terms of performance. Look at what he did against the Braves. He has been dynamite in the second half for the Marlins. He dominated the Braves on 93 pitches through 7 scoreless innings. Now for the Marlins, they'll be facing Aaron Harang, who had one brilliant start against the Marlins and one not so good one. The Marlins have knocked him around. They beat him in that ball game, a 4-0 game. Look at the numbers, the individual numbers. Giancarlo Stanton, good. Marcell Ozuna, good. Donovan Solano had a nice series all the way down the lineup. Garrett Jones is not in the lineup. Justin Bour is going to get a start, a lefty bat, as the Fish and the Atlanta Braves get set to go here. 50 years in baseball for Tommy Hutton. This is going to be a fun night, folks, and great baseball as well. Deja vu all over again. What's it like to face the team you just played in 3 more? Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Hey, the bucket might make an appearance tonight. to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine. Guys?
All right, Rich, thank you very much, and hello again, everybody. The Marlins and the Braves will do it again. They're 8-8 so far, 16 meetings this season, and last weekend it was the Braves that had the 2-1 edge over Miami.
Yeah, but when you look at the overall series, you're talking about 8-8 for the Marlins, who have been absolutely dominated by the Braves season series-wise in the last few years. So it's nice to see them playing great against somebody in their own division.
Let's take a look at the numbers. Not much scoring in this series. In fact, it's the fourth lowest in baseball among divisional opponents, with the average under 7 runs a game combined here through 16 games.
Yeah, you can pretty much see why it's an 8-8 series on the year. They're pretty much even all the way across the board. Slight edges to the Marlins just about every category. So hopefully they can win this series and win the season series with the Braves.
Now the crazy thing is the Braves have been so streaky. They've won 12 of the 19, but before that they won only 3 of 15. The Marlins have won only 3 of 11. That's really dampened some emotion that they had here trying to make a playoff run. It's kind of funny almost to talk about it when you're not playing well, but the fact is they're 4 out in the loss column in the wild card with 24 to go.
And when you look at the overall picture of the wild card situation right now, the Braves and the Brewers, the next 7 games for the Marlins against those 2 teams who are ahead of them. So it's critical time for them.
Yeah, maybe do or die too for the Marlins to get on a little run here, maybe get back into the mix of this thing as everybody else seems to be coming back to them. All right. Looking good here, Marlins baseball. It's a happy 50th to Tommy Hutton. All that tonight, coming up.
Let's go places by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. It's Marlins, it's Braves. It's 50 years in baseball for Tommy Hutton, the man that started the clock, the scout that signed him, Tommy Lasorda.
You know, I signed a lot of guys, but certain people you just attach yourself to. And that just, we became the best of friends. And I just thought that I was so proud of him. Every time he did something good, I was proud of him.
Oh, that's pretty cool stuff. And he joins us now, Tommy Hutton. First of all, terrific job on the first pitch. It was a strike.
You know what? I've been nervous doing different things. I was probably more nervous throwing out that first pitch because I just didn't want to bounce it. I'll tell you, I didn't want to bounce it.
Fox Tracks had it a good part of the plate. at about 63 miles an hour. There you are. Good form.
And I had to go to the mound. I don't think Billy was ready for it. He didn't do a good job framing the pitch.
Now, did you go into the cage and toss a few before?
I was going to go to the Marlins cage, but it was across the other way. I went into the Braves cage, and B.J. Upton was in there taking some cuts, so I figured I'd come back.
Pitch a penny brought you that first pitch. And for Jared Cozart, it's a strike to Jason Hayward. Andrelton Simmons and Freddie Freeman will follow. And Cozart, who throws a lot of fastballs, 70% fastballs, and his numbers have been splendid with the Marlins. 3-1. You see the ERA, and look at the whip down below. Walks and hits per innings pitched. Hayward in the leadoff spot. And a short breaking ball. That would be strike 3 called. That would be Jerry Lane calling balls and strikes, introducing himself right out of the chute. The rest of the Braves in this orderly fashion. Atlanta holds a piece of the second wild card spot. J.M. Lexus brings it to you. You've met Jason Hayward. Andrelton Simmons in the 2 spot. Freddie Freeman's at first. Justin Upton in left. Evan Gattis will do the catching. Tommy La Stella at second. Chris Johnson at third. B.J. Upton is out in center, and Aaron Harang is slotted 9th. And here is Simmons, the talented shortstop, lifts a pop down the right field line and out of play.
We always, Rich, give the scouting report on the opposing pitcher. I think sometimes, especially with a new pitcher, Jared Cozart joining the ball club, making his 6th start. But you know how so many times we put down attacks the zone, pounds the zone, attacks hitters. That's exactly what Jared Cozart does.
And Simmons takes in for the Braves. Certainly a successful year last year, winning the East, getting to the postseason. But for Freddie Gonzalez, he's really had to tinker with the top of his lineup a lot. Simmons is a guy that usually hits further down in the order. His on-base percentage just .289. But he's in the 2 spot for this start. And of course, Freddie last year moved Jason Hayward to the leadoff spot with much success, and Hayward's been in that spot most of the year this year.
Which is unusual in itself, because when you think about it, Hayward and Simmons really aren't 1 and 2 hitters.
No, they're not. Cozart with a fastball, and Jerry Lane's right arm looked like it was twitching on that.
Targets inside, pitches there, just off the plate.
So the count 2-2. Simmons tough to walk, tough to strike out. Cozart's gone full on him. Freddie Freeman, the number 3 spot. The Braves had an off day yesterday. A win on Wednesday after getting shut out in Philly on Monday and Tuesday. Little tapper. Cozart pounces and gets the out. Very poised, very calm. Cozart, matter-of-factly, gets the out.
Well, we'll look at the rest of the Marlins defensively with Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton, McGee, Echeverria, Solano at second. One change tonight. Justin Bour gets the start at first base. Salta Lamaki behind the plate. I'm going to throw in Jared Cozart there because he's shown some real good athletic ability and has made some good plays defensively. There's Justin Bour.
It's good to see him get a start. He had a really nice year in New Orleans. He has had a start as a designated hitter and actually did quite well as a DH.
I think he DH'd a little in Tampa, a little in Texas.
Fangraphs, terrific site. You can learn a lot. Interesting numbers. As Jared Cozart at 70% of his pitches as fastballs. And Cozart, as you pointed out, pounds the zone. And he's one of the guys that percentage-wise 5th highest among guys like Bartolo Colon, Lance Lynn, Shelby Miller, Josh Colmenter.
They got the Braves too with back-to-back looks at Jared Cozart, his last start in Atlanta.
Adjustments then, if you're hitters and if you're pitchers, how does that work?
They have to be made on both parts. in the case of Cozart, he threw 7 shutout innings. He may stay with what he had. In the case of the Braves, they may have to adjust. If they adjust, then he'll have to change things up a little.
Freeman has struggled against the Marlins, and Cozart dots the outside corner at the knees. 1, 2, 3 go the Braves. Boy, this kid out of League City, Texas, has really been special for Miami. It's brought to you by H.H. Gregg. We got some Phantom Cam going on as we celebrate 50 years of baseball for Tommy Hutton.
They did not have Phantom Cam when I signed in 1964.
No. In fact, they were just inventing slow motion when you signed in 1964. Aaron Harang on the mound and ready to face the Marlins. His 6th start against the Fish. His ERA is over 5. Of course, one of those he was really rocked, and that was here in late April. 10 hits, 9 runs, and 4 1/3. Christian Yelich takes in, and it's 1-0. Yelich, Solano, Stanton.
On the ball game in Atlanta, Harang went 5 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs. Remember, Donovan Solano took him deep with a home run.
Harang is big, 6'7", 260, but a dart thrower, not a guy that is a fireballer. And a strike.
Christian Yelich doing what he has done so well all year. Seeing pitches, helping the guys behind him in the lineup by doing it.
6 hits in the series against the Mets. And that one is up, and it's 3-1. And in this ballpark, Yelich has hit in 12 straight. A really nice second half. You go back to the start of July, a .332 average. He whacks that one foul. As a leadoff hitter, his on-base percentage tops all of Major League Baseball. 79 runs scored, 3rd in the National League. So he's had quite a season.
Remember, we also had that graphic a couple of weeks ago, how many 3-2 counts he sees. Well, there it is, 3-2.
Yelich, that's a fair ball. Into the corner it goes. Headed to second. Justin Upton scoops it up, and Christian Yelich has double number 26.
And an 8-game hitting streak for Yelich, and just continued success on 3-2 pitches. We've said it before, we'll say it again. He's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
At And so the Marlins have a runner in scoring position. Here's Donovan Solano with Giancarlo Stanton on deck.
How about this, Rich, for a small sample size? Donovan Solano has 5 career at-bats against Harang. He's 4 for 5 with a home run.
There's a long list of Marlins that have had success against this right-hander. And a lot of that success has been this year. Solano takes a strike. Back in Atlanta, Solano got the Marlins started early on a hanging breaking ball. He hit it out.
He hit that so easy. Remember, we had a number the other night when Zach Wheeler pitched for the Mets. We had the collective batting average of the lineup, which was, I think, 159. The guys in the lineup tonight collectively against Harang, batting average is 350. So there have been some guys with success against him.
He gave up 4 runs in 5 2/3 when these two teams and these two pitchers matched up last week. 0-1 is out to Solano. It's one of those spots here where you have an idea that Solano is going to get something great to hit. Stanton is on deck, and the last thing that Harang wants is to walk Solano and face Stanton first and second. And Solano chases, which is what Harang will get you to do.
Well, with 2 strikes, I don't think he'll think. He still may. Donovan Solano's pretty good at taking a ball the other way. I was thinking about it there, but he got the breaking ball from Harang.
Outfield playing Solano to right center. And Solano punches it into right field. Yelich will be held. And a good decision by Brett Butler. You've got Jason Hayward out there in right field. And you've got Stanton coming up.
What a great job by Donovan Solano. Even with 2 strikes, he's saying, I'm going to take a shot the other way. Watch how his hands stay back and inside, and he shoots the ball sharply past Tommy La Stella, the second baseman. So you're trying to do good things, and you know what we say, good things sometimes happen. So nice swing by Donovan Solano.
Brett Butler initially was sending him, then saw the jump that Hayward had. And so here is Stanton, who has homered in each of his last 3 games, had 5 hits in that Mets series, and he's had success against Harang. "36 home runs, 102 driven in on the 5th of September. Stan with a mighty rip there. And he fouls it off. It's 0-1. Eight for 21 against Harang. 1 home run. At the corners, nobody out. This is one of those spots that Stanton has talked to us about all year long, trying not to do too much, trying not to hit it 500 feet. "1-1. And he flips it foul. Marlins lineup looks this way. Yelich and Solano are on with hits. Stanton right behind him. Casey McGee in the cleanup spot. Marcell Ozuna. Justin Bour getting his first start as a position player. Jared Saltalamacchia, the catcher. Danny Echeverria at short. Jared Kozart slotted ninth. J.M. Lexus brings you the lineup. Harang 1 and 2 on Stanton. And he got him with a breaking ball. Stanton strikes out. Big out for Harang. And here's McGee.
Yeah, you're right. A big pitch for Aaron Harang. Here's a look at the Braves defensively tonight. Go to left field, see Justin Upton, brother BJ in center, Jason Hayward in right, Chris Johnson, Andrelton Simmons, Tommy La Stella, Freddie Freeman around that infield. Evan Gattis does the catching. Well,
1st and 3rd, and you got McGee up right now. Solano, not known as a base stealer. He's got just one bag this year. And Harang catches the outside corner. And for McGee in this spot and for Harang, both are thinking about the double play. McGee on how to stay out of it, Harang on how to get one. McGee leads the National League 27 double plays this year. Up the middle into center field. That's a base hit. A 1-0 lead. McGee's not stopping. On to second. He is out. Overslid. He was tagged out just before he got there. And a heads-up throw by the Braves in the outfield.
You know, it's a heads-up play if Casey McGee makes it. But if he doesn't go, he took care of a hanging breaking ball too. If he doesn't go, you have first and third and one out. You have that situation again to get another run without the benefit of a hit. But a heads-up play by B.J. Upton, who, as everyone knows, has struggled mightily offensively. A perfect throw, and he nails Casey McGee.
You know, if he goes in and gets the front foot down and gets to the bag with the front foot, I think he beats the tag. But that's easy to say and not easy to do when you're flying like that. Here's Ozuna now. And he swings and misses at a breaking ball. So Miami has 3 hits, a run, and there's 2 outs. Ozuna checks his swing, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. 4 for 13 with a couple of home runs against Harang. For Ozuna, it's been a terrific year. The production, 22 doubles, 19 home runs, slugging .434. I think if there's one number the Marlins would like to bring up, it's that on base percentage at .309.
That's always such a fine line with an aggressive hitter, one who has driven in a lot of runs. Ozuna 74, 19 home runs. It's a fine line.
Into center field. That one is cranked, and it's 2-0.
How about 75 RBIs? Now you're not thinking so much about that on-base percentage.
No, you're right. You are so right, Tommy Hunt.
Well, I tell you what, Harang, with the velocity he throws, he can't get a lot of the plate. He's made a lot of pitches that have been center cut.
Phantom cam. Watch the bat. Little bit of vibration. You see the compression on the baseball. Here's Justin Bour now. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Bour, who had a really nice year in AAA in New Orleans. Hit .306, slugged .517. His OPS was almost 900. And he takes away 18 homers, 72 driven in. Had 3 hits in a ball game in Texas as the DH. Marlins kept him on the 25-man roster after that run of American League games, and you could tell that pinch hitting was not something he had done before, because he struggled with it.
It's so tough for a young hitter. Justin Bour, 26, but yeah, 0 for 13 in that role, and it was just a role he wasn't familiar with.
No swing, and it's 2-2. And Bohr old school, no batting gloves. He's not Giancarlo Stanton, but he does put on a pretty good show in batting practice.
Oh, doesn't he?
The home run porch is well utilized. In fact, if you're coming to a game this weekend, the first place you might want to go is up to that home run porch just to see if he's left any balls up there. You can get in early. Harang with a breaking ball down by his feet. Bohr strikes out, but Miami puts 2 on the board.
Vía SAP por Kendall y West Kendall Toyota.
In Miami, 2-0. Marlins on top. 2 runs in the bottom of the first. Jared Cozart made quick work of the Braves in the first. Cozart threw just 14 pitches. Justin Upton, Evan Gattis, and Tommy La Stella for the Braves. Cozart misses down low. It's really an odd phenomenon for the Marlins, who lost their last ball game 4-3 to the Mets. They started that day on Wednesday 5.5 out in the wild card. That one fouled back to the screen. So the Marlins lose on Wednesday. They have an off day yesterday, and they get to the park and they're 5 back now.
Go figure.
They picked up a half game, and Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves pulled themselves even for that second wild card spot with the free-falling Milwaukee Brewers. With apologies to Tom Petty, the Brewers have dropped 9 in a row and are 73 and 67.
It's amazing how quickly things can change. While they've lost 9 in a row, the Cardinals have won 6 in a row.
Matt Holliday's been hot. Ryan Braun has been cold. Not all on their shoulders, but an illustration of 2 different directions. That would be Solano, and he makes the catch. There's 1 out. Put down your 2015 Marlins season ticket deposit now, and you can walk off with half your deposit in complimentary 2014 tickets. Ticket plans start as low as $380. So start saving today. 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com/2015 tickets. Line drive into right field, a base hit. And Stanton picks it up. Evan Gattis with a hit. 50 years of baseball for Tommy Hutton. Signed by the Dodgers as a free agent. Tommy Lasorda was the scout, later his minor league manager. Made his major league debut in '66 with his hometown team. Expos broadcast team, ESPN, Blue Jays, and then Marlins television in '97. And it's this has been a fun day already.
Oh, yeah.
The Fox Sports Florida folks had you into the studios in Fort Lauderdale. I loved the cake and the video and all of that.
What was the first thing I noticed on the cake?
The first thing you noticed on the cake is that the catcher, and it was like your old birthday cake when you were 10 with the little players on it, the catcher was not giving the runner a lane. And Tommy said, that's a violation of Rule 713. And then he went on a little rant, which was fun. But the other things that are going on today, now your family, you've been a resident here in South Florida for almost 30 years now, right?
Yeah, a little over 30 years up in Palm Beach County.
And the Marlins Fan Express, we talk about it. It's a big party. His family and friends were picked up by the Fan Express, courtesy of Fox Sports Florida, and are right now just crushing the spread in the Fox Sports Florida suite.
Yeah, I will travel back with them on the Fan Express and look forward to that trip.
Were you surprised when you got to the office? We were all kind of hiding in the studio.
You know what? It was really nice. A lot of people that I don't get a chance to see because they're in the Fox Sports Florida offices in Fort Lauderdale. You know, we're here at the ballpark. There's the cake, and it was a great presentation. My thanks to Steve Tello, Brett Updike, John Valek for putting that together. A great presentation there. You were there. I appreciate that so much, and just a great group of people.
Jared Cozart now facing Chris Johnson. And Cozart misses. And it's 1-0 to Johnson, whose number's off from last year where he was chasing a batting title, finished second. One foul back to the screen. The Gecko arrives. Even the Gecko salutes you, Tommy Hutton. Quote of the day from Chris Johnson on the Braves. Not scoring a lot of runs. We know at some point we're going to bust out. Hopefully it's soon, and hopefully it's not too late. Yeah, the Braves had the third fewest runs scored in Major League Baseball. Last year, though, they were fourth in the National League in runs scored. They hit a lot of homers last year. They struck out a lot while doing it, but a lot more home runs.
Well, they had that stretch. 2 of the games were against the Marlins, 2 against the Phillies. They had a 4-game stretch. They scored 1 run. They were shut out by the Marlins. Oddly enough, even by scoring 1 run, that was one of their wins in that 4-game stretch, the 1-0 win against Miami.
Soft liner, Solano's got it, and Cozart is through 2 and looks sharp. 2-0 Miami.
Years of baseball to go along with your Hall of Fame as a great manager from the Dodgers. I always admired you when you managed the Dodgers and all those great teams. Oh, you mean Tommy Hutton? I thought you were talking about Tommy Lasorda. I'm sorry. But no, Tommy, in all seriousness, congratulations on a great career.
That's it. Watching that, it shows to the fans what I know, in that you have great relationships with managers all across baseball. It's one of the things I learned from you as I arrived here is, down on the field, not just for Marlins batting practice, but make sure you're there for the other team's batting practice as well. And obviously, you and Freddie got along very well when he was here.
Yeah, I think over the years, hey, have there been managers that haven't talked to the broadcasters a lot? Yeah, but I think part of the job, and it's really not a job, is to get information from that other guy that you might be able to use on the telecast.
Jared Saltalamacchia leading it off with Adeiny Echeverria and Jared Kozar.
There probably been a few times that Marlins managers haven't wanted to talk to me very much.
Well, that's the other thing that I learned from you as Harang calls for it, and I've heard this and had heard this before, but you really reinforced it, and that is you don't second guess. You first guess. You lay out options. You say, hey, instead of questioning why would a guy do that, before it happens, you lay out the options.
We lay out all the options, and one thing that's really hard is, as we see Mike Redmond down there, one thing really hard from up here is he knows a lot more what's going on in that dugout than we or any of our fans that are watching do. And there may be a situation where he doesn't use this guy because maybe that guy got an ailment. Maybe he's hurt. Maybe he's sick.
Adeiny Echeverria. And Etch takes a strike. How much of, at what point as an ex-player did you really, I guess, shift into gear and say, I'm now a broadcaster and I may have to criticize or be critical of guys that I played with or against?
I think the separation came from me after I left the Montreal Expos. I was there as a broadcaster for 5 years. A lot of the guys that were on the field were guys that were teammates. And when I left there, I went to work for the Yankees on WABC radio for 2 years, and then 1 year on Madison Square Garden.
2-2.
I told myself before all that happened that I'm working in New York. These people know baseball. They're tough on their players. They know the game, and so I felt I better work at it. And I really thought I learned a lot as a broadcaster those 3 years there.
Well, you got to work with one of the all-time greats in Hank Greenwald.
And I worked with late Bobby Mercer on television 1 year.
3-2 is out. Echeverria walks. And that'll bring up Jared Kozar. If you've got a fan photo, even if it's like a Tommy Hutton photo bomb, hashtag an FL fan photo and send it our way. I may have to pull out my iPhone and find a Tommy Hutton.
We met a great fan tonight.
Yes, we did.
Before the game.
The winner of the reverse road trip. AT&T fan photo. We'll have it later in the show. Well, let's see if Kozar is bunting. It's good probability, as hot as Yelich has been. Yelich doubled back in the first. And Kozar does square. And he takes outside.
He has a decent enough swing with the way Johnson's charging and the way Freddie Freeman's charging. It's going to be tough to drop down a successful bunt. He may have the option. Mike Redmond may have said, if you see them charging a lot, go ahead and take a little swing, try to chop the ball by him. I mean, Chris Johnson, the third baseman, is halfway to the plate as Harang takes his stretch.
You've got middle infielders moving as well. Simmons to second and LaStella towards first.
And you also have a pitcher who's not overpowering.
There's the bunt.
And he still gets it done.
And it's a really good one. Gaddis throws him out. So 2 outs. Here comes Yelich. Major League Baseball doubleheader. The Giants and the Tigers. That's a real intriguing matchup. Orioles and the Rays. Then in the Central, the Royals and the Yankees in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. It all begins 12:30 on Fox and continues 4 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Yelich.
We see Yelich, usually that first AB, take a lot of pitches. He didn't there because he didn't get a pitch that was a strike, but a lot of times he'll do that, lay in the weeds, get in a situation like this, and jump on that first pitch.
Paul Meadow, 57, Nissan leaderboard. Pitches per plate appearance. Matt Carpenter, Christian Yelich. 1 and 2, two of the best leadoff guys in the National League. Hanging breaking ball, and he pulled it towards second. LaStella gets it and gets the out. Very special guest when we return. Years of baseball for Tommy Hutton, and 50 years ago in the Santa Barbara paper there was a headline that said Sutton and Hutton key win.
No, it was Hutton first.
Oh,
it was the Hutton.
It was
Sutton
alphabetically. They did it correct that way.
Hall of Famer Don Sutton joins us right now. You were a teammate. You guys were teammates that very first year. Santa Barbara, 64?
Right.
65.
65.
Signed in 64, 65, California League. There we were. First professional year.
We had a great team, too.
Yeah.
Good guys that played well, and how lucky were we to start now? Reportedly, the guy who is that you hitting, Hut? Reportedly, the guy who helped Koufax get started was our manager, Norm Sherry.
Yeah.
So think about having a part-time player as your manager, Norm Sherry.
That's right. Norm did catch a few games, didn't he?
He caught my first start as a pro player. Amazing.
And you guys both came up in the Dodgers organization before Tommy left for the Phillies.
Well, it took me a little longer than it took Sutton.
Well, but you know what? I mean, speaking of that, though, that Dodger system, when you guys were coming through, and Don, you got there first. Tommy, you were behind like 4 quality first basemen.
Well, yeah, there was Bill Buckner, Ron Fairley, and Wes Parker were there at the time, and then Bill Buckner and Steve Garvey and guys like that. So, yeah, it was a little tough to move up with those guys ahead of him.
You know, and sometimes, too, your success in the major leagues is not how you're doing, but where and when you're doing it, because, not to embarrass him here, I don't think there has been a better fielding first baseman than you. Tommy. He had the soft hands. He had the awareness. He knew how to play. He made a lot of infielders look a lot better than they really were. Plus, I think very underrated as a hitter, too. So absolute joy to play with him, and not a whole lot of fun to play against.
Thank you.
You know, I didn't know what I was getting. Now, here I am, a South Alabama kid growing up in Northwest Florida, and I go out west to play at Santa Barbara.
And I was a California kid.
You were one of those surfer dudes, the blonde, with the guitar and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know what I was getting into going to California.
And a tough spot to start your major league career in Santa Barbara, California.
Oh yeah,
which is one of the more beautiful places in the United States.
It's a long way from Clio, Alabama, though. So when we got out there, I didn't know what I was really getting into. And Tommy, they knew right away they had something special with Tommy, because in spring training, remember, I was on that homeless team. We had the Dodger Town Darts. It was a group of guys. They didn't know what to do. What were you going to do with these guys? We don't know anything about them. So we're going to put them on a team so we can have an even number, 6 teams, so we can play. He already had a spot. He knew he was going to Santa Barbara, check in at home and every off day. I didn't know what I was getting into, but very fortunate. I'd hate to think what would have happened in my life had I not had a chance to start at Santa Barbara, and certainly start with people like you. It was a great time, and the beginning of a very valued friendship.
I'll throw this in too, and Don will remember this. My mom and dad, because we were 90 miles away down in Los Angeles, used to come up to a lot of games. Always my mom's favorite as far as Dodgers. Once you got to the big leagues, it wasn't Koufax, wasn't Drysdale, it was Don Sutton.
Well, another thing, too, he and I were both legends in our mind in the Dodger system. But maybe the biggest legend in the Dodger organization, in the Dodger system, was your dad.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the great moments today, Don, that at Fox Sports Florida did a terrific job this afternoon in the studios honoring Tommy. They did a beautiful plaque, Tommy, commemorating your 50 years. And they had a photo of you as an Expo showing an usher at Dodger Stadium your bat. The folks at Fox Sports Florida were not aware that that was your father.
They didn't know that, yeah.
He was legendary there. He kind of set the standard for the Dodger hospitality. So. Plus, we got invited down to Tommy's house a couple of times in Pasadena.
I would expect so.
Yeah, well, we really didn't have to beg.
No. All right, well, Don Sutton, thank you for stopping by.
That's it. Thanks, Sutton.
Congratulations, my friend. It's a TV. Holy cow, I didn't even have anybody talking in my left ear. Normally, there's somebody here.
Once again, they're back together.
Right, thank you.
Time now for the AT&T U-verse Rewind. Oh my goodness. Tommy Hutton as a pitcher. Who took you deep?
Keith Hernandez.
Oh, you know what? He's back on the mound again. And I think you grooved that one. In fact, Jeff Conine gave you high marks and a scouting report. Lefty with movement, a little slow to the plate, and your career whip, partner, was 4.00.
If I had the cutter back in that time I threw against the Cardinals, I might have had better success against Keith Hernandez.
Here is Donovan Solano. Now, had you pitched before in your career anywhere?
Never in a professional game, no.
High school?
High school, yeah. I was far removed from high school that year.
Did you volunteer to pitch that night because you guys were getting lit up against the Cardinals?
I tell you what, it was a point in my career where I wasn't playing a whole lot, and I used to throw a lot of batting practice, especially if we were going to face a left-handed pitcher. And Dick Williams was the manager, and so he knew that. So he said, hey, I'm not going to use any of my pitchers. You go out and pitch the 8th inning.
There's a 1-2. Solano takes down low. Now, by my count, you played for 3 Hall of Fame managers, right? Walter Alston when you got to...
Yeah, briefly with the Dodgers with Walter Alston, yeah.
Tommy Lasorda.
Yep.
And then Dick Williams.
And Dick Williams, yeah.
Did I miss anybody?
No, the longest manager I played for, Danny Ozark, wasn't a Hall of Fame manager, but a very good manager.
That one pulled to third. Chris Johnson across the diamond. We figured we'd break down your pitching appearance a little more. It was on August 11th, 1980.
See, it was 13-0 when I entered the game.
You walked Simba, and then you punched out Leon Durham.
I got a strikeout. Yeah, I kind of pitched around Ted Simmons. He was a good hitter.
Now, our baseball historian John Chimchuk has unearthed a nugget as Stanton takes outside. You did pitch in Spokane.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In 68, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs.
Yeah. See, I had better success. I was a AAA hitter, too, for a good part of the time.
Stanton takes out. Well, you joke about that, but, you know, I was sincere when I talked about that with the Dodgers. It was a stacked minor league organization. Baseball hadn't expanded to where it is now. There weren't a lot of major league jobs. Stanton rifles one up the middle, and even Simmons can't get that one. It's deflected, and Stanton will hold right there. In fact, that Spokane team was so stacked, it's known around baseball as the greatest minor league team in baseball history. Who was on that 1970?
Well, just in that picture on the right, you see Tommy Lasorda, and you have Bobby Valentine, Steve Garvey, Bill Buckner, myself, little lefty Bobby O'Brien. Tom Paciorek was on that team, Von Joshua, Doyle Alexander, Charlie Huff. So it was a lot of fun. I believe we won the league by 26 games and won the playoffs 4 straight.
Stanton with a base hit. Here's McGee. RBI single for McGee in the ballgame. Stanton's running on the pitch. It's up, and the throw is off. Now, Gaddis is going to say interference, but McGee was in the batter's box and didn't budge, and Gaddis isn't going to win the argument. There was contact, but McGee didn't budge. The pitch, I think, took Gaddis into the box.
Yeah, he wasn't interfering. He was just trying to get a call. There's just another thing to add to the MVP resume. 11 steals, 11 out of 12.
Now McGee in an RBI spot. Significant, too, that Mike Redmond runs Stanton. We've been talking about the Marlins trying to figure out a way to stay out of that double play spot. And Stanton with the stolen base. McGee delivered RBI number 66 with a line drive single in the first. Back when Hawaii was in the Pacific Coast, the road trips to Hawaii were legendary.
Yeah, they were.
Because for a lot of reasons. the reasons we can discuss are that you guys would go over there for like a whole week.
Yeah, you'd go, you'd play Tuesday through Sunday, you'd play a split doubleheader Sunday and then fly home, all-night flight back to the mainland to open up the series at home. Getting back to all those players on that team, it's one of the things that kept me going because, Davey Lopes was on that team too. Forget about Davey, great player. But that's why I kept going, even though, because those guys got to the big leagues, and I kept telling myself, you know what, I can play with these guys. If they can get to the big leagues, I can get to the big leagues. Ron Say was the third baseman. How can I forget the Penguin?
Was Bill Russell at short or center field?
Bill Russell was at short. He was initially an outfielder, and he was there. Not sure if he was on the 70 team. He might have been, but then he went up to the Dodgers.
Where did Valentine play?
Valentine then played short. Bill Russell played third. When Valentine was there, Russell played third.
3-2 to McGee. Breaking ball, McGee out to left center. Justin Upton makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. And here comes Ozuna. Marlins and Braves on a Saturday spectacular at 7:10. All you can eat seats for just $27. Fans 21 and older can enjoy a post-game party at the Clevelander, hosted by DJ Zog. And it's presented by Subway. Go to Marlins.com today. Here's Ozuna. He cracked an RBI single to finish the scoring in the first. 2-0 Miami. Bottom 3. Aaron Harang for the 6th time facing the Fish. And Gaddis is on his way out to the mound. And then you arrived in Philly, and the Philly teams in the early 70s were forming a team that would get to the postseason, and you got to the postseason with them.
They had a couple of years, 76, 77. Did not get all the way to the World Series, but got to the Championship Series. They had some good first basemen there, too, with Richie Hebner, Dick Allen, Willie Montanez.
Yeah, those are. You kind of followed really good first basemen around, didn't you? Ozuna left center field. That's crushed. That's going to get to the wall. Stanton scores, and Ozuna's got a double. Marcell Ozuna has driven in 2, and Miami leads at 3-0.
Well, anytime you get those big 2-out base hits, the drive-in runs, they just seem more important. And Ozuna's had 2 terrific swings tonight. A single, a double, and 2 RBIs.
Justin Bour. Bour, right center. That's deep. And off the top of the wall. Justin Bour hits a monstrous shot. Top of the wall in center. And an RBI double.
How good right now does Justin Bour feel? Well, he's contributing. Gets an opportunity to start. And absolutely crushes the ball. Almost straightaway center field. P.J. Upton can't catch up to it. We talked about the 26-year-old's power numbers in AAA. Good for Justin Bour.
So the Marlins had 2 more, and here's Saltalamacchia. Saltalamacchia popped out his first at bat. Well, early in the season, Aaron Harang had a brilliant effort against the Fish. I mean, he was untouchable. But then the Marlins knocked him around, and ever since then, he's been vulnerable. And Miami's had success against him.
Well, with the injuries that the Braves sustained early in the year, spring training, offseason, they needed a guy like Aaron Harang. Tonight's his 29th start. He's given them innings. He's given them some quality starts, especially the first half of the season.
Yeah, an ERA in the mid-3s. Pitching gets top dollar in baseball. And the Braves were able to get Harang for just $1 million because he was released by Cleveland in spring training. This is like the 3rd time we've seen Evan Gaddis go out to the mound with a runner at second. Remember when Harang was lit up here earlier, there was talk and rumbling that the Marlins were stealing signs. That was because Harang was so dominant and then came back and got lit up.
Let me go on a little mini rant. If you're stealing signs because the catcher's giving them away, that's your fault. I mean, if you're stealing signs because maybe you got somebody snuck out there behind a camera, all right. But if you're picking up signs from the other team, you know what? Shame on you.
Outside corner. Saltalamacchia goes down. 3 more hits, 2 more runs. And Miami, after 3, has a 4-0 lead.
Wish him the best. Congratulate him on all the years that he's had in baseball. I just hope he sticks around long enough now he can start working on that Hall of Fame resume.
Very nice. Hawk 4-0. Marlins on top. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
Well, Rich, thank you very much. You know, the Atlanta Braves offense has had a lot of trouble this year. They're 11th in hitting. They're hitting just .244 as a team, but that is a trend around Major League Baseball. You know, in 2006, the American League average was .275. This year it's .254. National League in 07, the National League average was .266. This year it's .249. That's a drop of 17 points. And 21 in the American League from only 6-7 years ago. And you look at the overall numbers, historic. These are the lowest averages around Major League Baseball in over 40 years. Look at the numbers for 2014 and last year in the low 250s. And you see 72 was at .244. That's the record since divisional play began in 1969. What are the reasons? There's a lot of reasons that have been thrown out there. One of them may be the PED use is down. What about the infield shifts? The pitchers are throwing harder than ever. Maybe it's just a trend too. But baseball may try to figure it out. Remember what happened the last time when Bob Gibson had that big year? They actually lowered the mound. I don't know if anything is in store going forward, but they are alarming numbers and big differences in the recent years.
Well, Craig and Tommy, to be honest with you, I think just in listening to that and having read all about it over the last few years, it makes what Giancarlo Stanton is doing this year
that's a great point.
Stand out even more.
That's just an outstanding point.
He's got a chance to get to 40 home runs. He's got a chance to. He's already over 100.
He's got a chance to hit 300. How about that?
Yes, he does.
And hit a lot of home runs in this ballpark, which is unbelievable because if you didn't know, maybe somebody out there is thinking most of his homers have been on the road. That's not the case.
Well, and there was a number I saw today about Stanton. And it had to do historically with home runs, RBIs, and OPS. And Freeman takes actually on base percentage. And not many guys have led in those categories. The Triple Crown is traditionally, you know, the batting average thrown in there. That one shot foul, backing out of play. He's in a position, Stanton is, to become just the 7th different player all time to lead the National League in home runs,
That's
RBIs. All time. Home runs, RBIs, and on-base percentage in a given season. Only 6 have done it. Freeman lines it to center. Ozuna's there and he makes the catch. The last guy to do it was Barry Bonds. The guy before that, your buddy Mike Schmidt. The guy before that, Willie McCovey. And then you're back with Chuck Klein, Rogers, Hornsby, and a guy I've never heard of from the 15 Phillies named Gabby Cravath.
That's just incredible. And then to add to it, what Craig was talking about, the numbers and how much they're down, offensive numbers, what Stanton's doing. That's quite a list. I'll tell you one thing that Jared Kozart's doing a little bit, and you can credit Saltalamacchia. A few more curveballs we've seen tonight. He's thrown a few of those, and he's thrown some really good ones.
Thus the adjustment after facing this team in his last start. Pitchers will tell you facing a team back-to-back favors the hitters. And I think the hitters would tell you that too. And that's why you give credit to Saltalamacchia for changing the game plan, forcing Cozart to throw in a wrinkle or two.
And that's something that the pitcher and catcher do. They get together with Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, before the game. They kind of talk about their game plan, what they want to do, certain hitters.
Another rematch tomorrow. Wood and Eovaldi. High in the air to right. Stanton calling, Stanton catching. Jared Kozart has been dynamite tonight. 4-0 Fish. On Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by Blue Bell Ice Cream, by the Florida Department of Transportation, reminding you to drive sober or get pulled over, and by your South Florida Chevrolet dealers. The Energy Team actually will be on the Fox Sports Florida fan bus back up into Palm Beach with the Hutton party here tonight. They're all in the Fox Sports Florida suite. And Miami with 4 runs and 7 hits already against Aaron Harang in just 3 innings. Echeverria pulls one foul. Echeverria, Jared Kozart, Christian Yelich. Echeverria walked back in the second. Casey McGee an RBI single. 2 RBI hits by Marcell Ozuna, a single and a double. Justin Bour has an RBI double. Bour getting the start at first base tonight. Edge Into center. B.J. Upton makes the catch. We've heard from a lot of different folks. Now we hear from a couple guys that are sitting right next door to us on Tommy Hutton's 50 years in baseball.
Hey, Tommy, it's your old pals Joe Simpson and Chip Carey. Happy 50th anniversary in Major League Baseball. Joe, you've been around not quite that long. You're not that old.
Oh, no.
But I'm sure you have a lot of great memories of Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, well, the things that stands out for me are that it was that 3-for-4 day he had off Lefty Grove. He had a great day.
A testament indeed. Happy 50th anniversary, Tommy Hutton. We hope you have 50 more with the Marlins.
Two of our favorites, Joe Simpson and Chip Carey. We love them.
The funny thing is, on all these testimonials, most of these announcers would go off for about 2 minutes and just riff and hammer you on. So you had to pick the best, the best jab of the bunch. That's going to be in the center field.
Speaking of jabs, nice base hit up the middle. Cozart 1-for-1 base hit and sac bunt.
And here comes Christian Yelich.
Now remember, early in the year when he beat out an infield base hit for an infield single, it's when he kind of tweaked that little muscle on the side and he missed the start. Yeah, he's been instructed to take it easy on the bases.
It takes 2 or 3 steps for that to kick in, though. Yelich takes a strike. Yelich doubled in the first, bounced to second in the second inning. So it's already third time through for Miami's leadoff hitter, and certainly that's a good sign for the Fish here in the bottom of the fourth. And a strike. Just like that, it's 0-2. Breaking ball, Yelich, left center. B.J. Upton calls his brother off and makes the catch.
I always think that's so cool with two brothers out there. Wondering how many times as kids they did that in the backyard or out on the playground somewhere.
It's just got to kill Justin that B.J.'s in center, because the center fielder gets to call off the right fielder to the left fielder. So even though B.J. is the older brother,
he is the oldest.
You know, as the younger brother, you get tired of the oldest telling you what to do. Liner to center field, a base hit off the bat of Solano. Donovan Solano with his second hit, and that's going to bring Giancarlo Stanton up.
Well, let's see now. Donovan Solano, we told you it's a small sample size, but it's growing. He's now 6 for 8 in his career against Aaron Harang.
Giancarlo Stanton is coming up. Tommy, the fire alarm has gone off here at Marlins Park. And I don't know if that's in celebration of Stanton coming up, but there are lights flashing all around the park. Stanton lifts it towards the line. Hayward, lots of range, but it's up into the seats.
You know, for a minute I thought those were cell phones. You know, the newest fad at ballparks. Where'd we see that? In Anaheim?
We've seen it in a couple places. Anaheim, Cincinnati. But everyone appears to be calm. Harang continues to pitch. Stanton up with runners first and second.
Everyone but maybe Claude Delorme.
Stanton has struck out, singled, stolen a base, and scored. Liner in the right center field. That's in the gap. That might chase 2 more home. Cozart scores. Solano scores. Big G. 104 RBIs on the season. 6-0 Miami. 30 doubles. 36 homers.
And just to add to that, a stolen base tonight as well. That's a pretty good pitch. It's up a little bit, but it's out away. Might have been off the plate. But look at how Stanton lets it get to him and just drills it, driving it into that gap in right center and driving Aaron Harang out of the ball game.
Freddie Gonzalez has seen enough. He's going to the bullpen. Stanton with a 2-run double. Aaron Harang is out. Wes Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Celebrated tonight, Tommy Hutton, 1964 to 2014. And the Marlins are celebrating tonight.
I like it so far.
6 runs, 10 hits. Giancarlo Stanton has driven in 2. He's 2 for 3. His 30th double. And now 104 runs driven in. David Hale takes over for Aaron Harang.
Talking, Rich, about Stanton creeping closer to 300 with that base hit. Giancarlo's at 297 now.
Breaking ball misses in. Well, here's another thing to think about. 3 weeks left in the season. Ben Revere leads the National League at 314. Now Stanton would have to get really hot, and he'd have to get pitched to a lot. Just a thought.
I like the thought.
McGee knocked in a run with a single in the first. Fly ball to left center. His second time up. Stanton a good lead at second. For McGee now, 66 runs driven in. Sprayed out of play. It's 2-2.
Well, let's see. Casey has a hit, so he's extended his hitting streak to 8 games. Christian Yelich with a hit now has an 8-game streak.
He fouls it back and out of play.
A little bit more on the fastball from David Hale than what the hitters have been seeing from Harang.
A game in Detroit with the Giants and the Tigers is delayed after 3. 6-0 San Francisco.
There's kind of some bad weather. The Cubs had a game against the Pirates suspended in the 7th inning.
That one pops out of the glove of Gaddis, and he may apologize to his pitcher, but will apologize to you for the language. 3-2. Well, harm, no foul, though, with Stanton. He did not move up. As a runner, sometimes you get screened off.
Yeah, he's really good at moving up, too, and I think he just got screened out a little bit. Didn't have a good angle.
McGee, Simmons charging, and his flip is in time to get the out. But the Marlins tack on 2 more and lead at 6-0.
I got to tell you, I go back to 2002 in spring training, and remember, I get the job, and about, a week later, I'm on the air with you. That was the most nervous I've ever been in my life, and you put me at ease from day one. I've learned a lot about broadcasting. I've learned a ton about baseball, and you become one of my best friends in the world. Congratulations on 50 years in baseball.
Oh, very nice stuff from a terrific broadcaster and one of your former partners, Len Casper. How many partners have you had? I know, I know you're not supposed to ask that. You're not supposed to ask that, but now that we've been together for 10 years, Len proceeded.
Well, of course, here with the Marlins, Dave O'Brien, Joe Angel, Len Casper, and yourself. I will say we've had the longest running.
We have,
yeah,
haven't we?
We have. And then all the years doing games. I had a wonderful partner in Toronto doing some CBC game, Don Chevrier. But a lot of different partners with ESPN games over the years. You mentioned earlier Hank Greenwald, terrific, Frank, great broadcaster in the Bay Area. But then Hank, for 2 years, we were together doing Yankee games on WABC.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
I didn't work a lot of games, but learned a lot just watching, observing from Dave Van Horn when I first started in Montreal.
Gaddis rolls one up the middle, backhanded. Solano quick to first. All right, I've had 10 years. Someone that's had a lot longer is with Craig Minervini.
Yes, I'm with the Hutton clan. This is Derek and Jason on the right, Tommy's sons, and his lovely wife, Deb, who's of the 50. You've been there for
40.
40. That's a good run. It's an amazing night. It's like a what's your life kind of night tonight for Tommy. What about the early years of getting going and trying to get this dream to come true for you guys?
Oh my gosh, a lot of great, exciting times. Some disappointments. A lot of time alone raising boys while Tommy's on the road. But there's so many blessings being in the game for so many years, and to be married to somebody that loves their work and still at it. That's great.
We get to see Deb on the road every now and then. The boys played college ball, and how about Pop tonight? I know it's a neat night for all of you guys, Jace.
Yeah, it's neat just seeing the tribute they're doing, and then the cool thing about Dad is like he still has the same love that he had when he was probably 18 and he signed with the Dodgers now, and he's got passion for the game, and that's what's awesome.
You guys do. You still run and help run the baseball camp as well. You played collegiately, Derek, and tonight you get to honor Dad.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, 50 years for him for a long time. I was laughing earlier thinking 50 years is a lot of baseball games, and then you combine all the games that Jason and I played too. I can't even think about the amount of games that he's watched throughout all the years, so he knows what he's talking about up there.
Yeah, when we see those pictures, we saw one, I think maybe when Tommy signed, you see a lot of Derek here because he had the same hair and eyes, right?
Yes, they do. The boys do resemble him in a lot of ways, yeah. A lot of the same mannerisms also.
Which is a good thing, right?
It's a very good thing. It's a great thing. Yeah.
Well, good night. Thanks a lot, Deb Hutton, Jason, and Derek, as we celebrate 50 years with Tommy Hutton here tonight. And the Marlins are celebrating, too. They lead 6-0.
And 50 years in baseball, wow.
Tommy, congratulations on 50 years in baseball.
Congratulations, Tommy. You are the man.
Tommy, happy 50 years. One of the best analysts in the game.
Hey, T-Hut, congratulations on 50 years. Love ya.
You know, everybody gets a chance to wish you a heartfelt congratulations on 50 years in the game. And tonight, Miami leads Atlanta in a ball game. And I think Craig Minervini said it in Marlins Live. You're getting down. This may not be a must-win game, but it's a must-win series. The Marlins haven't won a series since the middle of last month.
Well, I was looking back, and if you go back a few series, that series against Texas, just a 2-game series, the Marlins have won a lot of first games. First game in Colorado, but then they lost the series. Won the first game against the Angels, lost the series. Won the first game against the Mets, lost the series. So it's one of those, they haven't been able to put together a streak longer than 3 in quite a while, in well over a month.
Marcell Ozuna, Justin Bour, and Jared Saltalamacchia. Ozuna and Bour have been in the middle of it tonight. RBI single and an RBI double for Ozuna. Bour, about a 415-foot double off the top of the wall in center to drive in a run. The wild card standings, and I noted at the outset of the telecast the oddity of the Marlins 5.5 back on Wednesday, losing off day yesterday, and waking up in the morning 5 back. It's because of Milwaukee's free fall. Atlanta had moved into a tie with Milwaukee, and the Giants have been in that #1 spot in the wild card and are playing well. San Francisco an early lead against Detroit. We told you that's delayed by rain. 2-2 pitch to Ozuna, and it's in the dirt. Now the teams between the Marlins and that 2 spot, the Pirates, the Brewers, and of course the the Braves, with the Braves and the Brewers sharing that spot. So we immediately look to see what everybody's doing who holds those positions. Milwaukee is at home against St. Louis. Brewers have a South Florida product. Mike Fiers on the mound. And that's a scoreless ball game in the top of the second inning. The Pirates, as Tommy mentioned, suspended. Not the whole team, but the game. 3-3, Pirates and Cubs. Top 7. That's suspended by rain. It will resume tomorrow. Cubs are getting pretty used to this suspended game stuff, aren't they?
Yeah, it's happened before, yeah.
And of course, Atlanta's here. And that's the key to this series, is that the Marlins have somebody in their sights and in their ballpark that if they beat, they're going to gain ground on it. There's no question about it. Johnson, a nice pick. And he gets Ozuna at first. This homestand in series finishes on a family Sunday. Marlins and Braves at 110. The Pepsi 4 for 54 pack is around. 4 tickets. 4 KMB Frank's 4 Pepsi soft drinks for just $54. Kids get a Julio the Octopus plush doll, courtesy of Barry University. They can run the bases after the game. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. As well, say the Marlins win this game and get hot and win this series. Next destination is Milwaukee. And the Brewers, as we noted, tied with the Braves for the #2 wild card spot.
Well, and just listen to what you're talking about, meaningful games, and here we are, September 5th, after a 100-loss season.
Not only a 100-loss season, but the Marlins darn near lost half of those games in April and May.
And a dismal season as far as offense, scoring runs, last in just about every offensive category.
Historically bad offensive. Chance to get win number 68 tonight. Bohr pulls a ground ball to first. Freeman has it. And the second out in the bottom of the 5th. As we celebrate 50 years. For you, I would expect that the cool thing is that when you made your Major League debut, John Roseboro was on that Dodger team.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was. I got called up, and Roseboro was there. I got called up, you know, as they call up young players at the end of the '66 season.
And obviously, at that time, Koufax and Drysdale were on that team. In the minor leagues, as you came up in the Dodgers organization, I would expect you probably ran into maybe a guy that was a star in the 50s that was on his way down. Was Hoyt Wilhelm? Did you face or was he on your team for?
Hoyt Wilhelm came to Spokane for a month or so, maybe longer, I'm not sure, to help Charlie Huff with his knuckleball. He started playing catch with Charlie, ended up throwing it so well they activated him. He pitched, the Dodgers called him up.
How cool is that?
It was great. Everybody wanted to play catch with him.
And so that,
just to see what it was like.
That to me is the amazing thing about the 50 years. And I said at the outset of the telecast, what impresses me most about my partner is how current he is with the game today. The players today, Tommy has a working knowledge of each team's bullpen, guys who are here or there. And the same cannot be said about a lot of guys that played long ago and broadcast now. Some of them live still in that 60s and 70s. As Len Casper told me when I got the job, he said, "Rich, you're going to love working with Tommy Hutton. He's the coolest old guy I've ever met."
Thanks, Len. That's a great crowd right there.
Tommy Hutton will always be a Dodger. And how delighted I was having seen him gone full circle from the unknown first baseman to a kid who even pitched in one game and eventually become the fine broadcaster that he is. So to Tommy, I say, welcome to the club. How great it is to have had you for 50 years.
Now, how cool was that as you made your Major League debut? You grew up in Pasadena, that Vince Scully was a legend back then in the 60s and still is.
No, that's totally cool. I mean, growing up in L.A. when the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles in 1958, I'm starting my teenage years, and so listening to the Dodgers, I mean, I grew up listening to Vince Scully. So, yeah, that was totally cool right there.
Now, if you've enjoyed a lot of the comments that we've had from guys like Vince Scully and Mike Schmidt and others, some of the long form of their comments will be on Marlins Live later on. I told you that many of the riffs, especially from the other broadcasters that were really giving it to you, we had to cut down, but some of the real good ones we'll have for you on Marlins Live after the ball game. B.J. Upton here in the 6th.
Boy, and in the meantime,
Jared Cozart.
In the meantime, Jared Cozart just continues to attack and mow down the Braves hitters.
6 strikeouts for the 24-year-old.
Braves have 1 base hit. It was a Gaddis single in the 2nd inning. There's a perfectly spotted fastball. He's used that. The curveball's been there.
Jose Constanza, one of the many September call-ups for the Braves, makes an appearance.
Yeah, we've seen Constanza over the years, the last 2-3 years.
You look at the trade that brought Cozart to the Marlins. Kike Hernandez along with the deal. Jake Marisnick, highly thought of outfielder. Colin Moran, first-round pick. To judge trades, you have to look 5, 6, 7 years out. But right out of the chute, you see why it makes so much sense for the Marlins. As Cozart throws out Constanza, there's 2 outs. Tomorrow, another rematch with the Marlins and the Braves. Checkers brings you tomorrow's tilt. Alex Wood, who punched out, what, a dozen the last time the Marlins faced him, and Nathan Eovaldi will go for the Fish. That was a terrific game. It was a 1-0 game. And Wood did strike out 12. Eovaldi struck out 5. But Tommy, watching Cozart, all of a sudden you're thinking not only about the end of this year, but the next few years with Cozart in the rotation.
Rich, you made a great point earlier talking about all the trades that were made at the trading deadline, pitchers especially that were involved in those. Right now, Jared Cozart, with the way he's pitched, has to be at the top of that list.
Absolutely. I mean, his last 4 starts, his ERA is 0.65 and dropping. He's 3-0 in those starts. The Marlins have won all 4 of those games. As Hayward rifles one into right by Stanton off the wall. Hayward cruising into second with a 2-out double. And it makes a lot of sense too, because the Marlins will be without Jose Fernandez until late June, early July. So you put Cozart in the rotation.
You put a Nathan Eovaldi, who's really learned a lot, I think, this year with the innings total, where it is most he's ever thrown.
And you have a Henderson Alvarez, a healthy Henderson Alvarez. So if you're a Marlin fan, you really got to like what you see so far from Jared Cozart. Andrelton Simmons. Simmons gets into one left field. Yelich after it, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Good closing speed by Yelich, who runs it down. Cozart 6 scoreless, and a 6-0 lead for Miami. On Tuesday on FX. just keep your shirt on, young man. That youngster was a internet sensation earlier in the season for his dancing here at Marlins Park. James Russell is in. Kendall Toyota pitching change. David Hale took over for Aaron Harang. Marlins knocked Harang around 3 2/3, 6 runs and 10 hits. Hale went an inning and a third, and he did not give up a hit. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. A lot of carnage in the Sea Creatures race, and that's really good to see. I mean, there's nothing like a good 4-creature pileup in the corner there.
You know, that's why NASCAR is so popular.
Here's Echeverria. Now there's a liner in a right field, a base hit for Echeverria. Adeny's first hit. Cozart comes to the plate. 50 years in baseball. How many years of broadcasting?
33.
In 33 years of broadcasting, how often did you have to read the disclaimer?
Well, when you've gone off on assignment, occasionally.
That's right.
The year I worked with Bobby Mercer, I worked with Ken Singleton in Montreal on TV one year. So yeah, it kind of had to do with that.
Your most
well, it was different in Montreal. The different disclaimer.
Did you? Really?
No, I don't.
You had to get the Mounties to sign off on it or something. That one is inside to Cozart, and it's 1-0.
Derek Cozart tonight, Rich, in his 6 innings, has thrown 69 pitches, never more than 14 in any inning.
Get those hands out of the way. The bunt is a strong one. Freeman looks and goes to first. Cozart has been perfect tonight. 2 sacrifice bunts and a base hit. And he has struck out 6 and given up just 2 hits.
Well, I think all the pitchers on the staff can take a page out of his sacrifice bunting book, because it's a pretty good one. See, a guy like him is wasted, in my opinion, is wasted in the American League, because he doesn't get to do that. He doesn't get to sack bunt. He doesn't get to get himself a base hit.
There's Yelich now.
We were talking earlier, Rich, and our crack staff's been so good tonight, about Christian Yelich and the 3-2 counts. This year, on 3-2 counts, he's hitting .329 with an on-base percentage of over 500.
Well, we talked about his on-base being the best among all leadoff hitters in baseball. And it's a series that features 2 guys who don't profile as leadoff hitters, but may end up being leadoff hitters. It all depends on what other pieces the Braves put around Hayward and the Marlins put around Yelich.
Yeah, I think in both cases, in the case of the Braves, the case of the Marlins, if either team were to get that pure leadoff guy, then a Hayward and a Yelich moves to another spot.
Braves had Michael Bourne for a while, and that was a given. Look out. Yelich fouled it back and lost his bat.
You know what? Now, he looked back, and I think he's so thankful that that ball found some empty, or that bat found empty seats. That was the first thing he did. That's a scary way to get a souvenir.
It is. Just get out of the way and pick it up when it stops bouncing. So Yelich will get a new bat. That and don't get pine tar on your shirt. It's tough to get out in the laundry.
Yeah, don't grab your wife's purse, if you got pine tar on your hand.
Yelich swings and misses. Lexus of Pembroke Pines, upcoming telecast schedule. Start times for Marlins Live. Braves tomorrow. That would be a Saturday night. Sunday at 12:30, and then it's on to Milwaukee. A 4-gamer in the Beer City. Can we say, is that the Beer City? We can call it the Beer City. Why not? Or the Cheese City. 8 o'clock first pitches and 7:30 starts for Marlins Live in Milwaukee. Solano. Now remember, Donovan Solano had a terrific series against the Braves in Atlanta. Solano had 5 hits and 12 at bats, and he's picked up right where he left off. He's 2 for 3 tonight. He's got another one into right field. Echeverria, they'll send him. Hayward up. Hayward's throw to the plate. He's in there. Echeverria scores. Tough pick for Gaddis on the hop. Echeverria did go head first. He did get the plate.
Boy, Donovan Solano again, and we've talked about all the assists for Jason Hayward. A little tough hop, but I think Gaddis did give just a little bit of the play, but I think he tried to put the tag on him before he got the ball. 3-hit night for Donovan Solano.
Here's Stanton now facing Russell, runner at second. And we'll see what kind of appetite Russell has for facing Stanton.
You and I were talking about this earlier today. If any change will be made in that Rule 7.13 for postseason.
There's talk that the rule will be changed and possibly for the postseason. That pitch misses in. If you're on Twitter and you want to see the picture of Tommy's cake with Rule 713 implemented, just log on to @Fox Marlins, or you can log on to my Twitter feed. I was able to capture it in film and send it out. Stanton went out of the zone on a 2-0 pitch, and he dribbles it up the first baseline. Donovan Solano, a big night tonight. as the fish behind Jared Cozart shutting out the Braves. Toyota trend tonight. ERA of traded players since August 1st. Something we drew attention to early in the telecast. Of all the pitchers that went from one team to another in a pennant-driven trade, Jared Cozart has the lowest ERA. How about that? We've had a lot of guests that have been both on the telecast and on tape. We bring in a Hall of Famer now who was with Tommy Hutton at the very start of his broadcast career, Dave Van Horn. Hi, David. How are you?
Good to be with you guys. Of course, I'm with you every day, but it's good to be with you in the booth.
It is. Ball into left center. Long run. Ozuna looking up, leaping, and it's gone. Freddie Freeman with an opposite field home run. And an impressive home run at that for Freeman. His 18th of the season, and the Braves are on the board at 7-1.
Tell you what, we've seen Freddie Freeman hit opposite field home runs, but when you hit an opposite field shot here in left center, it's a blast. The 0 for 2 before that swing, but Freddie Freeman can absolutely hit. Just struggled against the Marlins all year.
I was going to say, isn't this game something, though, of all people to bust up the bid for a shutout, Freddie Freeman, because he hasn't been able to buy a hit against the Marlins until last weekend and now tonight.
Yeah, now the hits are coming in droves. And thank goodness this will be the last that the Marlins see of Freddie Freeman at the end of this series. Now, you were, of course, the voice of the Montreal Expos when he went from player to the booth. When he was a player, did you have any inkling that he could make a long run, well over 30 years as a broadcaster?
Early in his career, no. But as his career went on, yes. And as a matter of fact, got to see him play with other teams. And I knew whenever he was in the game that we're looking at a Gold Glove caliber first baseman, and we're looking at a very intelligent hitter who did something with the bat to help the team every opportunity he had. So it was fun to watch Hut, because I had talked to other people about it before I got to know him, and they all talked about his sense of humor, his great feel and love of this game, and the fact that he had a terrific time and was always a great teammate.
How was he on the Expos pregame shows?
Well, you know, I'll get into that.
Ozuna makes the catch. Upton got into that, but it's a long out.
When right before Hut became a member of the Expos, he was a Blue Jay, and he was dealt by the Blue Jays to the Expos. The Expos wanted to acquire him, so I knew right away, smart guy, stay in the same country. He's loved from coast to coast that way, playing for both Toronto and Montreal. I also checked his stats right away and found that in his last 17 games with the Blue Jays, he was batting .333. He came over to the Expos and all of a sudden was 2 for 19, a 105 hitter in the Expos uniform. And I thought, what in the world have we gone and done?
So sure Dick Williams thought that too.
So what you're saying is he didn't appear on the Expos pregame shows very often.
Not at that time. But, you know, John McHale saw great potential in Hut as a broadcaster. They knew that Tommy Hutton was an entertainer. Not just a good ball player, but he was an entertainer, and they knew that he had a future in broadcasting. And before Hut even got out of the uniform, he started working on pregame show interviews. He would interview players down at the end of the bench, and when he retired from the game, he came up and worked hard in a broadcast booth all by himself, broadcasting games and doing interviews with people. He immediately worked as hard at his craft as a broadcaster as he had as a player.
Giancarlo is there, and he makes the catch. Now, Dave says Tommy is an entertainer. Our AT&T fan photo, of course, hashtag your photo, FL fan photo. Tommy Hutton as the entertainer. There he is.
Oh, wow.
Now, Las Vegas, you and Maury Wills had an act, right?
Yeah, we did. I was there for 6 weeks with Maury Wills. That was actually that photo from the Mike Douglas show.
Really? Now, I knew the dating game. Tell us the Mike Douglas show.
It was in Philadelphia, and because I was with the Phillies, and they found out that I played the guitar a little bit, so did an appearance on the Mike Douglas show. By the way, one of those players, Dave, I got to get this out, that I used to interview on the bench, a good friend of ours, Bill Gullickson. Bill Gullickson. He's a neighbor now, good friend, and I used to do mock interviews on the bench with Gully.
What song did you sing on the Mike Douglas show? A cover, I hope.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I don't remember. I really don't.
Nothing you wrote yourself.
No.
That one is a rocket down the right field line, and it hooks foul. Tommy La Stella getting into that. All of a sudden, Jared Cozart's given up some loud shots. The homer by Freeman and the long out by Upton.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, there were times when we were playing in Philadelphia and when Hunt was a member of the Phillies, and then later as a member of the Expos, when he couldn't wait for the games to end so he could go to that rooftop saloon at the Holiday Inn adjacent to Veterans Stadium and perform there, play the guitar and sing some songs to some people.
That's right. There was a stadium club at Veterans Stadium also. My fear was making the last out, striking out with the bases loaded, and then going up and doing that on a Friday night.
Having people throw things at you.
Which they would do in Philly.
1-2 pitch. And a swing, a miss. Foul tip. What establishment in Vegas did you and Maury appear?
It was one of the older downtown casinos called the Las Vegas Club, right on that downtown strip. Maury was good friends with the owner and did a show there every year for 5 or 6 years. And one year invited me to come down and help him out.
The Dodgers were well connected in Las Vegas, Hut, as you know, because my former partner, the late Hall of Famer Duke Snider, would tell stories about performing in Vegas.
All right, Dave Van Horn, Hall of Famer, and a big part of Tommy Hutton's career as well. Thanks for coming by, David.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you. Congratulations, Hut.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, it's been a fun night so far. We got a lot more planned. Marlins up 7-1.
Honoring a guy that we've known for a long time, Tommy Hutton, for being involved in the game for 50 years. And Mike, the first thing I want to do is, how old are you?
Well, I'm 54.
So I'm 2 years older than you, so I'm 56. And I'm wondering, when you honor somebody for being in the game that long, what does that really mean?
It means he's old.
Hut, 50 years in the game. Nobody cares.
Those guys are the best.
They are.
The best part about that is that I can always tell Dwayne Kuiper I have 21 more home runs than him.
That is true. They are maybe our favorite television team to watch on the West Coast, especially. Juan Jaime is in. And he'll be pitching in the bottom of the 7th. Miami up 7-1. If you're just joining us, tonight we are celebrating 50 years in baseball for Tommy Hutton. My daughter Anna just sent a text.
What did Anna have to say?
Tell Tommy I said happy 50 years in baseball.
Oh, thank you, Anna.
And she liked the video of us goofing around at the start of the show. That one's cranked left center field into the gap, which Upton will get it. And it would be Justin Upton. So Justin Upton makes the catch with one out. Who doesn't love Beer Fest? Beer Fest is coming up tomorrow night, 4 to 7. Variety of brands will showcase their brews at the Clevelander. And then stay and watch the Marlins take on the Reds. Tickets start at just $30. Must be purchased in advance at marlins.com/special events.
Uh-oh, there's your game. There's your game.
Oh, the Jenga game going on. That's early in the game, though, right? I mean, that's
yeah, that's just getting started.
They've picked at the lower level pretty good. Ozuna has looked good tonight. He's 2 for 3, RBI double, RBI single, and is bounced out.
Well, we've talked a lot, Rich, and half the battle is coming to work, which we really can't call it that. But between yourself and Len Casper the last quite a few years, coming to work and working with knowledgeable guys who I can bounce things off of.
Ozuna has his 3rd hit of the night.
And we can have a dialogue on baseball. And not only knowledgeable baseball guys, but good people. Yourself, Len Casper, good family man, and I appreciate that.
Well, look, we heard Len earlier in the telecast. We're the lucky ones because we get to work with you, and for 10 years we've had. It's really been an interesting ride. I arrived at just as the World Series team was in its final year in 2005. We saw those rookies in 06, Ugla, Jake, Hanley, Josh Johnson, Anibal Sanchez all come through and kind of grow up before our eyes. And that's one of the fun things about this season, Hud, is watching this team go from 100 losses last year to hanging in the wild card in early September and a chance to get a big win here to open up this 3-game series against the Braves.
Yeah, it's been if we had been told this in spring training that we'd be able to talk about meaningful games and still on the outer fringe, but still in the hunt for a postseason berth, we'd have said, all right, where do we sign? Let's go.
Now, as a Marlin broadcaster before Len, you had a revolving door.
Well, Dave O'Brien, a terrific broadcaster, terrific guy too, and now his family's all grown. I actually talked to him the other day, and has gone on to not only do Red Sox baseball on the radio, but do just so many national games on ESPN.
Justin Bour has another hit. He's got 2 hits tonight. Ozuna will go first to third, and he'll stop there. Bour had an RBI double back in the 3rd. A solid single to right. And here comes Saltalamacchia.
You love to see a guy just getting a little opportunity. Don't know how many games he's going to start or play, but you love to see a guy take advantage of that and get a couple of hits the way Bour has tonight.
So Saltalamacchia now. He pulls one into right field. That's a base hit. And the Marlins add on. Now here's the thing. It would be appropriate that on the night where we honor Tommy Hutton, that the 10-run reel would be in effect, because then we could pull out all kinds of Tommy Hutton bloopers.
I thought they deleted those years ago.
No. Those are on the file, my friend.
Every starter in the ball game tonight has at least one base hit. Not a great night for Roger McDowell, the Atlanta Braves pitching coach.
Fastball to Echeverria is in. So the Marlins have gotten into the bullpen. Jaime is the third to work out of the pen. That one into right center field. Echeverria's got a hit. Runner coming home. Here comes Bohr. Throw is cut. He is safe. And the Marlins have another run.
Four straight hits now off Jaime here in this 7th inning. Second of the night for Adeiny Echeverria. With a couple of hits tonight, Echeverria has a batting average in the upper 270s, but over 300 at home. Good hard straight on slide with that front leg.
Cozart takes a strike. Cozart 2 sac bunts. Singleton scored a run in the 4th. There's one out. Runners first and second. And he rolls one to the right side, and that'll be 2. As the Braves roll a double play, Miami gets 2 more runs and stretches their lead to 8. Headed to the 8th. 9-1 Fish.
Years, I can't believe that of professional baseball. I thought Tommy was 50 years old, but apparently he's been in baseball since he was a baby, and the insight he brings to the game, getting to know him when he was the broadcaster when I played for the Marlins, he offered a lot of advice that was really, really great, and you could tell that it's somebody that knows what he's talking about, loves baseball.
John Baker, that was right after Bake was hit in the throat by a foul tip.
Yeah.
And one of our favorite Marlins and a friend of the show here as we celebrate Tommy Hutton, 50 years in professional baseball. Jared Cozart is in the spirit. He's gone 7 innings, given up just a run, struck out 6, and thrown only 85 pitches. You know that Cozart would love to get a short pitch inning here with a shot at finishing himself.
In his last 5 starts, as a Marlin. He's gone 7 innings 4 times. The other time against Texas, he went 6 innings, gave up just 1 run.
Chris Johnson now. And you've got B.J. Upton in the pitcher spot.
I mean, he works with such efficiency. Doesn't waste too much time. Gets ahead early. And to think the first time we saw Jared Cozart, he was pitching for the Houston Astros.
36th major league start. He's not completed one. Dip into his minor league numbers. See if he had one in the minor leagues. He did in 2010 in the Sally League. And one in Oklahoma City in 2013. So last year made 17 starts in Oklahoma City. Had a really nice ERA in the low 3s. Johnson walks. And he's aboard. Coors Light, cold, hard fact. Here it is. Tommy Hutton from 66 to 81, 499 major league games at first base. Just 12 errors and a very high fielding percentage. And as you heard Don Sutton say, one of the best fielding first basemen he's ever seen.
That's because he always got over and covered first base too.
P.J. Upton into right field. And we check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Well, I'm with Bill Boomer Beck, the former traveling secretary, radio man with the Marlins, very often for Dave Van On. How many years for you, Bill?
Just 46 or 7, so I'm a rookie.
And this young man over here, you know, Jack McKeon, how many years for you?
Well, I can't, I really don't want to tell you because I want to congratulate Tommy on 50 years.
Yes.
Because, you know, I still remember as a kid, I used to go watch him play.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, up in the Philadelphia area, and when he was up
California, maybe
Spokane. Yeah, I was a kid when every night I'd go out there, and you know, once in a while he'd throw us a baseball. But
really,
yeah,
lefty swing,
and he hit like Ruth.
Really?
Yeah, like a sister Ruth.
It's like a roast now. Where's Steve Allen when you need him? No, Jack. Now, how many years seriously for you?
65. Tommy's got to go some to catch me.
But a nice night for Tommy Hutton. I know you enjoyed being around him here and continue to.
Oh, Tommy's a great guy, and I really enjoyed coming out and watching him throw out the first pitch tonight. I thought he was going to throw out the first fan, but he didn't.
Jack's on fire tonight.
Oh, yeah, he hates a camera. But, you know, I got to give credit to Debbie Hutton. They've been married 40 years, but the truth is really only about 20 because he's been on the road half the time.
He gets credit for 40, though.
Yeah.
All right, good to see you guys. Jack, you look great. Boomer as well. Let's go back to you guys.
That did have a good roast-like feel to it.
That was like, what were those, the old Dean Martin celebrity roasts?
Yeah, but I think Jack and Boomer were sober. on the Dean Martin roast, nobody was. Google it, kids. Bonnie's up. Emilio Bonifacio. Cozart trying to get through this inning now, and you would expect that as the Marlins bullpen is heating up, a complete game is probably not within reach. He's at 93 pitches. Bonifacio, you see a 275 average. Braves acquiring him adds versatility. Can play in the infield. Marlin fans know that. He's also a speedy center fielder.
First time the Braves have gotten 2 men on base in any inning. And you go back to that last inning, you can see that all of a sudden they were starting to pick up the ball better. Maybe Jared Cozart lost a little bit. There were some balls hit hard.
We've heard from Hall of Famers that you've played with, teammates, contemporaries, managers that you've worked with, other broadcasters from around baseball. My phone has been blowing up with texts, people wanting to pass along congratulations. Stanton in, and it falls in front. They can get the out at second, and they do. So the Marlins get an out. It's your typical fielder's choice, 9-6. Write that in your book.
Yeah, it's always a little frustrating if you're the hitter, because instead of getting that base hit, you've hit into a fielder's choice, but there really isn't anything the runner at first base can do, because you think that ball might be caught. But Stanton had that summed up right away.
Jason Hayward struck out, popped out, doubled. Well, the Braves certainly had trouble scoring runs in Philly, your old town. They were shut out Monday and Tuesday. They did score 7 runs and win Wednesday.
You remember they had that combined no-hitter. Cole Hamels, the winning pitcher, he threw the brunt of it, but a combined no-hitter thrown against Atlanta.
That Giants game is still delayed in Detroit. Little tapper on to first in time. Now, in digging up the vintage video of Tommy Hutton, our friends in Fox Sports West, we were able to get the South Pasadena High School yearbook. And we didn't know Tommy Hutton was a hoops player. I knew it, but I don't think a lot of people knew it.
See number 11? The guy, I'm number 30. Number 11 is one of my friends that I hooked up with in Anaheim. We played golf and had a cookout at his house.
How were you at basketball?
Averaged 25 my senior year with no three-point line, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Now, you guys must have run up-tempo offense, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had a 3-guard offense.
Paul Westhead was your head coach? Is that... And the name of that yearbook?
The Copa de Oro.
Now,
it's South Pasadena Tigers. We were orange and gold.
That's familiar to me because my father went to the same school.
That's amazing. I remember when we first met, you were telling me that.
And Pasadena, California, into center field. That's a base hit for Andrelton Simmons. And the Braves have another run. Bonifacio crosses. So it's 9-3. Cozart just trying to get to the end of this inning. Mike Redmond is going to come out and take him out. Freddie Freeman homered against him in the 7th. And Cozart will exit in a 9-3 game with 2 outs in the 8th. Remember, the last few times he's been lifted, Cozart hadn't been real happy. We'll see how he reacts here. But you can tell, Tommy, he was running out of gas.
And the crowd loved what he did. I like to see that. You know that. And they're appreciating the performance that Jarek Cozart had tonight.
He has been terrific for the Fish. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. The outcome, I don't want to say it's decided, but it's pretty lopsided. Comes out of the ballgame in the 8th inning, and he looks like a guy that is just beating himself up for giving up some runs here late. On one hand, you say to yourself, why is he beating himself up? On the other hand, you're like, hey, you like seeing that. The fact that he's competing even if he's ahead by that much, and he takes it seriously, and it's not like, oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah, he wanted to complete that 8th inning. Who knows, maybe the 9th inning and get his first major league complete game.
As it is, Dan Jennings comes in, and Jennings will face Freddie Freeman. Freeman launches one center field. Ozuna back there, and he makes the catch. One pitch, out recorded. Bottom 8 coming up.
Baseball. Congrats, Tommy. 50 years. That's a long time.
Hey, Tommy. Congratulations on 50 years in baseball.
Congratulations on 50 years.
T-Hut, congratulations on 50 years of baseball.
Congratulations, Tommy Hutton.
Yeah, from the world's most dangerous tape room.
Who's making you look good for the last 19 years here.
Hey, Tommy. Congratulations on 50 years in baseball. What a ride. I hope we can keep pushing those buttons for another 50 more.
I've always maintained that as we celebrate 50 years of baseball for Tommy Hutton, that we should have sold some sort of sponsorship or have some sort of feature pushing Hutton's buttons.
Well, I tell you what, just listening to those guys, our crack staff, a thank you goes out to all of them, because you're right, they make us look good.
We'll get back to the Gulfstream Park game summary.
Yeah.
We love Gulfstream Park.
Oh, was that up there?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
That's all right. I glossed right over it.
Gulfstream will understand.
Yeah, we love those guys. Here's Yelich. Gulfstream Park game summary is a lot of Jared Cozart, 7 2/3, 3 runs, 6 strikeouts. And up and down the lineup, as you see, Gus Schlosser in for the Braves. Yelich takes outside.
Everybody in the lineup, everybody that started the game with at least 1 hit. Donovan Solano has 3. Stanton 2 for 4, couple of RBIs. Ozuna 3 for 4, couple of RBIs. Justin Bour 2 hits. Echeverria a couple hits. So the Marlins have put together 16 base hits in this one. That's the way you celebrate 50 years.
That's right. That would, I mean, it's a great day. We had a terrific time at the Fox Sports Florida studios in Fort Lauderdale. Our tip of the cap to Steve Tello and Brett Updike for organizing what was a very classy and fun, nostalgia-filled and at times emotional presentation. That was really something to see. That's where it started. The limousine then took you. They picked you up in a limo today at home, right?
They did. Yeah, I got the full treatment today.
Nice. And
not the spa treatment, just the limo treatment.
Then arriving here at the ballpark, throwing out the first pitch, throwing a strike, by the way. And it's been a terrific night. Now, if the Braves were up 9-3,
we couldn't have as much fun.
No. Well, you know, we'd have fun, but not as much fun. And I think if the thing that I enjoy most about working with you is your ability to combine baseball knowledge, baseball history, strategy, and fun. And that's the way I like to call a game. And I was thrilled when I got the job and arrived here and found out that's the way you like to call the game.
Well, see, it's worked out for 10. We'll see how many more we can go.
Well, that's the thing about having fun. If you have too much fun, sometimes the FCC will.
Well, yeah, we've come close.
Yes, we have.
We've walked that thin line.
No, we've seen a lot of memorable things. We had that perfect game by Roy Halladay. We've seen some Marlin pitchers throw no-hitters. Henderson Alvarez last year, that amazing no-hitter to finish what was a 100-loss season. And Anibal Sanchez throw his no-hitter.
Yeah, there have been some great moments.
And this, for me, watching Miguel Cabrera in his career hit and watching Giancarlo Stanton this year, really a highlight offensively. When I was a young broadcaster, I got to watch Ken Griffey Jr. For you got to see that 97 team as well as the 2003 team. And I think people don't realize that my partner has 4 World Series rings from 2 different organizations.
Yeah, well, sort of. I do with the Marlins, and this is the difference in organizations and why the Marlins organization has been so tremendous. I do not with Toronto. We didn't do as many games as you and I do in our television package.
Solano's got another hit, by the way. That's 4 hits.
But there was a nice watch involved. All right, that had the World Series note on.
Well, you've been able to call games for 4 World Series champions.
Right. That's right.
And that, I mean, those Blue Jay teams were terrific.
But I've always said, and I've talked to other people about it, the Marlins organization. Number one, they've been terrific to me and to you and me. They allow us to do what we like to do without a lot of interference, and it isn't always like that with other broadcasters and other teams.
See, that 50 years of baseball will help you keep your concentration in moments like that.
What?
Swing and a miss by Stanton, and it's 0-1. All right, strap in, kids. Stanton facing Gus Schlosser, and Stanton breaks his bat. Now, you know, in a game like this, the dynamics change, because early in the ball game, you would have pitchers, even with guys at the corners, work Stanton very carefully. But if you're a guy like Gus Schlosser, you want to go after Stanton because you want to say, look, I got Stanton out last night. In a 9-3 game, Evan Gattis right now in deep conversation with Schlosser.
Well, you have an opportunity, too, for Giancarlo to add to that RBI total. He's at 104 right now.
And a slider got him. And Schlosser did, to his credit, go right after him.
I think Giancarlo a little over anxious, thinking about driving in a run. Give Schlosser credit, made a good pitch on a slider. Donovan Solano tying a career high with his 4 hits tonight.
What's the most memorable game that you played in, and the most memorable game that you called?
Boy, that's so hard to. You know, it sounds trite, but as far as playing, getting called up when I was 20 years old and finally stepping on a major league field in a Dodger uniform, which is the team I grew up watching when they moved to LA.
You got into the game, didn't you?
I played 1 inning behind Sandy Koufax.
How about that? Now, how about as a broadcaster? Now, you did work in 2003 of the postseason on radio, right?
Yeah, but we just did. Len Casper and I did pre and post game stuff. We'd sit in for an inning. I would sit in with Boog for an inning. Just all the moments, the wins, you know, the no hitters are memorable. Certainly clinching and winning the World Series in both years, in both 97 and 03. I wasn't broadcasting, but I was in New York in 03 when the Marlins won the World Series at Yankee Stadium.
McGee walks and loads the bases. Here comes Ozuna. He's got 3 hits. Checkers brings you Marlins Live postgame. And again, if you've enjoyed the testimonials and all of the clips, we've got some of the long form versions of those coming up on Marlins Live. Ozuna way out in front. So Ozuna
might be a little chip sometimes in the barrel of the bat. Might have felt it as he rubbed his hand up there.
They count 0-1. 9-3 Miami, 17 hits for the Marlins. The Braves 3 runs on 5 hits. Schlosser, another breaking ball. It's a ball and a strike. We told you this is a rematch between Aaron Harang and Jared Cozart. Cozart won that ball game 4-0. Harang wasn't around very long in this one, 3 2/3. Ozuna, look out, everybody. Yelich, third base umpire Sean Barber. Tomorrow, another rematch. It's Marlins and Braves. But Alex Wood and Nathan Eovaldi hook up again, and their last matchup was an epic one. Last day of August, the Braves beat the Marlins 1-0. Wood struck out 12. Eovaldi gave up just the 1 run.
Yeah, Brad Hand has been announced as a Sunday starter. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm really interested to see the game tomorrow night to see how the Marlins adjust to Wood. I wouldn't think he would make any adjustments until he sees that.
Ozuna gulps one and hits it deep. In fact, reaches the second deck. And that family will go home happy. Count 2-2. Full count, 1 out. Bags loaded.
Look at that, 12 strikeouts, no walks in Wood's 8 innings of work.
Yeah, the Georgia Bulldog was lights out. Fastball hasn't shown that a lot. Thrown a lot of breaking balls to Stanton and to Ozuna. The Mets are hammering Cincinnati 11-2. Mets were in here and took 2 of 3 from the Marlins. 3-2. That Giants game is still delayed in the 4th. 6-0 San Francisco.
I bet our friends Mike Krukow and Dwayne Kuiper are enjoying that.
I know our friend Marty Lurie is enjoying our telecast tonight. He sent along his congratulations.
Marty, how you doing? Thanks.
Sisters are big Marlin fans here in Miami. 3-2. Ozuna, center field, and deep. Upton back, looking up, and he reaches and can't get it. 2 runs will score. And Ozuna has himself another run-scoring hit. 4 runs driven in, 4 hits on the night, 2 of them doubles.
And to cap it all off, a season-high 18 hits for the Marlins in this one. Boy, that ball just kept traveling, and traveling. And we know B.J. Upton can chase him down with the best of them. He couldn't get there, just out of his reach.
And here is Bohr now.
78 RBIs now from Marcell Ozuna.
Bohr takes outside. Fox tracks terrific at bat, and that last pitch, number 9, right in on the black.
He got himself in a situation where he got that fastball. He saw a lot of breaking balls earlier in the count.
Justin Bohr looking for his first major league homer. Bohr out of George Mason University. 25th round pick of the Cubs in 09. Ball in the dirt. It doesn't get far from Gaddis. Marlins in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft.
He had a year a couple of years ago in Double-A with the Cubs organization. 17 home runs, 110 RBIs from Justin Bohr.
You look at his minor league numbers as a whole, there's some numbers that you like. He's got a slash line in 6 seasons worth. 279 average, 351 on base, 460 slugging, 92 homers in 646 games. But a swing and a miss there, and a breaking ball. And down goes Bohr. Up comes Saltalamacchia. Freddie Gonzalez on his way out. Going to make a pitching change. With a lefty coming in, it's our West Kendall Toyota call to the pen.
I remember back in the early days when you were at the Dodgers, the most eligible bachelor in the National League. And then we became teammates in Philadelphia. That was a great ride. You played every day. Every time Seaver pitched, you played. And then we became neighbors, great friends, longtime friends. Our wives are friends. That's the thing I cherish most, Tommy, our friendship. Congratulations on being in baseball for 50 years. You're a credit to the game, and I appreciate your friendship, brother.
Well, that's high praise from the Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt, your teammate in Philly. You guys, Luzinski, Schmidt, Boa.
So many times people ask me who was the best player you played with as a teammate. Two guys that I always say are Mike Schmidt and Andre Dawson. And then you got another Hall of Famer you can throw in who was a cherished friend, Gary Carter. That's how I look at it. I look back and I think of all the great players I had an opportunity to be teammates with. That's what was fun for me.
Luis Avilan is pitcher number 5 out of the bullpen. Saltalamacchia with runners second and third. And Avilan misses in.
Got to see Steve Carlton have one of the most phenomenal seasons I've ever seen a pitcher have.
While the Phillies were having one of probably the more awful seasons record-wise you ever experienced in the big leagues.
Yeah, the Phillies won 59 games. Now, they didn't lose 100 because there was a little bit of a work stoppage the first week or two of the season, so there weren't 162 games played. And Steve Carlton won 27 of the 59 games.
Carlton, the most interesting teammate.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Very unique. Bill Lee would be on that list too.
Now, where was Bill Lee a teammate? In Montreal?
Montreal, yeah. A couple of years. Yeah. Let's stay focused, Rich. Focus.
And they just want to wish you a happy 50 years in the game, Tommy.
I think they're on the party bus on the way back.
Well, if that's the case, then drop me off drop me off in Parkland on your way home. Here's a 3-1 coming. Saltalamacchia swings and misses, and it's 3-2.
Well, as proud as I am of 50 years in baseball, I'm much more proud of 40 years of marriage.
Well, without a doubt. And we had a chance to speak to your better half, Debbie Hutton. I think Boomer said it best. 40 years more like 20 because you've been on the road a lot. And that's a burden that all of the spouses of those of us that work in this game have to carry. Jared Saltalamacchia, an RBI single. It's 1 for 4. High pop-up. La Stella calling and catching, and the Marlins are done in the 8th. 11-3 Fish. Miami. MLB.com at the ballpark mobile app. Great features throughout the year. Check in through the app, earn free tickets. Download the free MLB.com at the ballpark app today. Sam Dyson in to finish off what has been quite a night here for a lot of reasons. The Marlins looking for win number 68, trying to get back to 3 under. A chance to gain some ground on at least one of the wild card teams that holds a piece of the second wild card, and that's the Braves. So if the Marlins win this ball game, they're 4 back of Atlanta. Milwaukee, as we've talked about, is playing St. Louis, and right now the Brewers have a 4-0 lead over the Cardinals. The Brewers are trying to snap a 9-game losing streak. Pittsburgh and Chicago were suspended 3-3 in the 7th. They'll resume that game tomorrow as part of a mini doubleheader, so to speak. And the Giants and the Tigers are still delayed in Detroit. 6-0 Giants.
Well, you get a series like that, you know it's the only time the Giants are visiting Detroit, so they've got to do everything possible to try to get that game in.
And that's not a suspended game, right? That has to go 5 before it becomes a suspended game. So
yeah, only 3 innings, and the Giants with a 6-run lead. They've got 10 hits in 3 innings.
It's going to be a bad feeling being in the clubhouse, having had like Gregor Blanco in that game as a double and a triple, and thinking it could all be erased.
Did all the damage off Rick Porcello and Jake Peavy. He probably won't go back out there, but 3 innings he gave up just 1 hit, no runs.
Center field, Ozuna back. Justin Upton's hit 2 balls out there. He snatches his helmet off his head. 2 balls out there about 415 feet from home plate.
I'll tell you what, he's probably thinking a lot of things, but I'll tell you one thing that Justin Upton is thinking. He's given Giancarlo Stanton a tremendous amount of respect now in this MVP thing, because his name's up there a little bit. But with balls like that, knowing that Stanton plays 81 games here, he's thinking that.
And that's another thing that I wish in the discussion was mentioned a little more often, is that, as Craig pointed out, in a historically bad offensive year, his offensive numbers continue to decline. Stanton is putting up big numbers, and he's putting it up in the biggest ballpark in all of baseball. Just a thought.
24 of Giancarlo's 36 home runs are here. 67 of his RBIs are at home. Of course, you know how you score 11 runs. You go 10 for 21 with runners in scoring position tonight. That's what the Marlins have done. There are the numbers.
Leader in OPS, on base percentage,
total bases.
That double tonight is 30th. Slugging percentage. And Evan Gattis strikes out.
And trust me, this is not a shot at Clayton Kershaw. He's going to win the Cy Young, but what's Clayton Kershaw doing tonight to help his MVP status? Nothing, because he's not pitching.
And that's the point that we've heard from Ron Darling and John Smoltz already this year, and actually in this last week. Bouncer. Solano has it on the first. And the Marlins, on a memorable night here in Miami, win the ball game 11-3. And a celebration on the field. Big nights for a lot of fish. Jared Cozart was terrific. Donovan Solano had 4 hits. Giancarlo Stanton drove in 2. And of course, 50 years of baseball for Tommy Hutton ends up with an 11-3 Marlin win.